This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Thursday, the 25th day of April in the year 2024. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting. Now here's what we're tracking tonight. Egyptian-born American billionaire Rami El Batraoui, who had submitted a leading bid twice to purchase the Guyana Marriott Hotel under his company X, has died suddenly, according to close relatives and friends. He was in the process of finalizing the purchase of the hotel and had complained about the length of time it was taking for the Guyana government to wrap up the process. The government of Guyana is a majority owner of the hotel. The billionaire's death has thrown the sale of the hotel back in the spotlight, and today Vice President Bara Jagdeo said the government is in no rush to sell the Guyana Marriott Hotel following the businessman's death. Mr. Jagdeo said it is unclear whether the company, which was owned by the billionaire, will still go through with the purchase of the hotel. He said based on that decision, consideration may also be given to the second highest bidder.
We may have to invite in that company to see if you can conclude an arrangement in the second bid. And if you can't, if the bid is still not valid, because bids have a validity period, you may just, the government may decide to go back out or just to keep the hotel. There's no rush to conclude anything here because we're not looking to desperate to sell it.
Late last year, the National Industrial and Commercial Investments Limited, the government's holding company, had accepted a $90 million bid by El Batraoui as the winning bid for the hotel. During a second round of bidding, the company, X, an American investment group founded by El Batraoui, was one of two companies that responded to NISL's invitation to resubmit bids with a base price of $85 million for the purchase of the hotel. El Batraoui had increased his previous bid by $25 million and emerged as the top bidder, submitting a bid of over $90 million. The government of Guyana had rejected the first round of bids. It was the government's contention that all 6 bids submitted during that first round were not acceptable, forcing the second round of bidding with a base cost. More news coming up in just a moment.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true, or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
The Ministry of Housing and Water's Central Housing and Planning Authority is in the process of addressing all applicants with acknowledgement letters dated 2019 and prior. To efficiently and transparently address applicants within this period, we have introduced an online platform. However, allocations will be done based on the availability of house lots in the respective regions. The Ministry will schedule allocation dates for applicants outside of Region 4 in the respective regions. To access this online platform, visit our website hai.chpa.gov.gy and fill out the required fields, then submit by clicking on the Search Housing Application tab. A notification will then pop up on your screen indicating whether your application was found in our database. This will be followed by a pop-up screen with your basic personal information and an option to make changes to your contact number if applicable, or if there is any change in your preference for land or a built housing unit. After that information is submitted, you will be notified immediately that the process was successful with a message saying you will be contacted for an allocation based on availability. If an application is not found, it means your application does not fall within the date, and you can contact the office at 706-5730 for any inquiries. This is a message from the Central Housing and Planning Authority.
A number of weapons belonging to the Cerberus Security Company and OP Security Services were seized by the Guyana Police Force after 24-year-old Ashanti Liverpool and 19-year-old Jared Jagandan were killed by two security guards in separate incidents. Minister of Home Affairs Robeson Ben today told reporters that following the deadly shootings last month, he ordered that the weapons in the possession of the two security companies be seized and all security officers within those firms be retrained.
In both cases, we required retraining. The immediate response was the taking away of weapons, and we are trying to find more resorts to sanction them for the deficiencies, in this case, two particularly difficult situations, incidents, in relation to their handling of weapons.
Minister Ben said the deadly shootings were no accident. In one case, Ashanti Liverpool was gunned down by her twin sister's ex-boyfriend, who was a security guard attached to the OP Security Services at the time. He had armed himself with a high-powered rifle and was in search of Liverpool's sister when he gunned her down. The man later turned another gun from the security company on himself, but survived the injury and has since been charged with the murder of his former sister-in-law. In the case of Jared Jangnan, he was killed 3 days later by a 20-year-old security guard attached to the Cerberus Security Company. Jagnan was working at the Lubricant auto sales company when he was shot dead by the 20-year-old guard, who was also on duty at the time at the same company. It was suspected that the guard may have accidentally fired off his gun, hitting the young salesman, but Minister Ben said it was no accident.
If you are a trained security person and you have a precept, it could not be accidental in the way the incident happened. And the response to save the young man's life was very inadequate. With the other one, it is a bad one. Again, a young person precepted in a security service was allowed to take the gun from one place and assault the sister of his partner, kill her, and then go and take another gun and go and try perhaps to kill himself.
With the number of security companies rapidly increasing in the country, the Home Affairs Minister said there is much work to be done by the Guyana Police Force to ensure that persons issued with precepts are well trained and demonstrate restraint while carrying their weapons. He said the police force is currently in talks with security services across the country.
We know that Chinese and other businesses are being targeted, and we are bringing up, and there have been more recent discussions through the Guyana Police Force with the security service providers in relation to the discipline. The hours of work, fatigue may be a problem, and generally their readiness and responsible handling of weapons.
The Home Affairs Minister also said while security services play an important role in crime prevention, the misuse and handling of their weapons is totally unacceptable. Let's tell you now that a 52-year-old East Rheinfeldt resident was stabbed to death yesterday afternoon after becoming involved in a scuffle with a man who had used a gay slur against him. A police report identified the dead man as Sean George of Lesingen Square, East Rheinfeldt, here in Georgetown. The police in its statement explained that George was sitting in front of a shop in the community when a 34-year-old man from the West Rheinfeldt community rode past him and shouted a gay slur at him. The 52-year-old challenged the man to say it to his face. The police report said a 34-year-old stopped, came off his motorcycle, and rushed over to George, and the two got into a fight. That fight ended up in a nearby drain, and it was while the two men were battling out in the drain that the unidentified 34-year-old pulled out a knife from his pants and started to stab the 52-year-old Sean George. The police said George was stabbed 3 times to his abdomen and once to his left arm. The assailant then hurried away from the scene on his motorcycle. The injured man was picked up by residents of the area and taken to the Georgetown Hospital, where he passed away while receiving emergency care. He sustained several internal injuries from the stabbing. The murder weapon was found at the scene of the crime, but the suspect is still to be apprehended. Investigators have been informed of his name and his usual place of residence. With the rainy season settling in, the Georgetown Mayor and City Council is taking stock of all the public infrastructure projects, in particular road and bridge projects taking place, to ensure that they do not contribute to flooding in the capital city of Georgetown. During Monday's statutory meeting, Mayor Alfred Mentor ordered the city engineer Culverin Venture to compile a detailed report on the status of the public infrastructure projects ongoing within the 15 constituencies of Georgetown.
Plenty of these projects, like the start and like the contractor dropout. Because the project start, the drainage happening, the men digging up and doing a whole host of things, even blocking off major canals. And those canals are compromised at this time. And I'm not seeing the contractor who's supposed to be doing the job.
It was noted that public projects are being executed by the government and the council will not take the blame should flooding occur as a result of clogged drains and canals caused by the incomplete projects.
But me and take the blame as the mayor, and I don't believe councillors will take the blame when rain start fall and the people's houses start flooding out. Because the water ain't won't be going anywhere. I've passed in many years in south and north and east and wherever, even in my constituency, in Lamaha Street and Middleton Street, and some serious situation. I saw a little rainfall the other day and people done calling. And there's not a rain, there's a drizzle.
The mayor also told the council it is important to get a status report on the projects and the list of the drains that have been compromised. He emphasized that a thorough analysis is required. In supporting the call for a status report on the projects, Deputy Mayor Denise Miller told the council that she is the victim of an incomplete project that has now resulted in the main drainage network in her area being blocked.
My yard is underwater. And Deputy Mayor, I asked the engineer kindly before if he can kindly look into the matter. It's not a matter that came to council. I asked him, I said, must please see what is happening in the Tocqueville main area, Archival Street. They started the drain there and they block off the main canal. So the water is circling in Tocqueville Terrace. Yesterday, the men came to me, they said, look, Dr. Mayor, we're going to break this thing through because people are suffering.
Other councillors also expressed disappointment in the manner in which the projects are being executed in what they call the haphazard manner and without any consultation with the municipality. One councillor opined that the data on the ongoing projects should have been readily available and the council should not be made to go looking. The city mayor said the council has repeatedly requested the information, but to no avail.
Purple Arts Productions presents A Treat for My Mother's 7. On Mother's Day, Sunday, May 12, Herbie Marshall and Strings, Barbara Lee, Leona Walton, Young Nelson, and others. Golden jewelry for the best dressed mother in purple. 8 p.m. at the National Cultural Center. Tickets $3,000 and $2,500. Compliments Indigenous Furniture Store, Noodle Cake Creations, Essential Care Pharmacy, Sunflower Jewelry, a Purple Arts Theatre production.
Linden, it's time for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. This year, Big Man Tour Skylark. Join Go Mosley Entertainment on Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand for 5 big bands: Stitchy, Super Ray, Murphy, the Castro Brothers, and for the first time in Linden, the one-woman band Queen Makiba.
But when I see what I was getting, boy, I start to shiver, cause I know I'm unable with that. Get me, young boy.
Plus DJ Granny Ivy will be live. Party like never before. It's a one-man band and one-woman band fete for Linden Town Week. Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand. Big Man Tour Skylark. Compliments of GTT, Sheriff Security, 592 Tees, Banks Beer, Guinness, and XM Rum. Drink responsibly for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. Big Man Tour Skylark.
Mobil 1 is more than oil. It's many oils. It transforms at the molecular level. When cold, it's thicker than honey. When hot, it's thinner than water. Mobile One adapts and readapts to last longer. 16,000 kilometers between oil changes. That's your engine evolved.
Sol Guyana is the authorized distributor of mobile lubricants.
A delegation of concerned Indigenous leaders spanning 3 districts in regions 2, 6, and 9 today called on the government to establish an impartial commission of inquiry to investigate growing allegations of rape, sexual abuse, and misconduct in Indigenous villages by persons, including those in positions of power, who allegedly use their political influence to hamper police investigations whenever reports are made. At a press conference at the Herdmanson Lodge, head of the Indigenous delegation, Mark Anthony Rodriguez, who hails from St. Ignatius Village in Region 9, said the violence perpetrated against Indigenous women and children is becoming a norm, and in most instances, it's allowed to go unnoticed by those in authority.
We would like to suggest a call out on the government to launch an impartial inquiry into these allegedly sexual misconduct committed in the confines of our Amerindian village, where in most instances are hampered by political interference into these allegations, resulting in cover-ups from prosecution by the courts while denying justice for the victim in this process.
He said in recent times the delegation has received reports of alleged cases of rape involving officials within the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs.
In recent times, information came out from remote areas, like, for example, Mr. Marlon Edwards, that these acts were committed by officials employed by the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs in senior positions. And when these matters are reported to the police, there is always an intervention politically. Then the allegations leveled against these officials are stopped there from these political intervention, either by offering compensation, bribes, and it gets nowhere from there.
Mr. Rodriguez also said the continued denial and the violation of rights of Indigenous women and children have placed Amerindian people in an even more vulnerable position for continued assault on their human rights. He said should the government heed to their call and that the inquiry finds the officials of the Amerindian Affairs Ministry are indeed culpable, then the Minister of Amerindian Affairs, Pauline Sukai, should be made to step down. Gloria Durant of Rupert Village said reports of violence meted out to women and children in Indigenous communities should not be swept under the carpet, noting that the time is now for action.
Matters like violence, rape, and cases like that are reported to the police. It takes long to be looked at. They don't really follow up. Sometimes it goes through the court, yes, but I don't know, for some reason or the other, they would take long because, for example, there are 2 cases which was reported by me, and it is 2 years now, and the girl who was raped, the parents are still awaiting to hear from the court what next step.
And Immaculata Casmero of Ashalton in Region 9 said although laws exist to protect women and children, there is little enforcement of those rights, resulting in them facing significant abuse. She said domestic violence is not a burning issue to be addressed.
Although laws exist to protect women's rights, we as Indigenous women face many challenges, discrimination, and violation of our rights. And there is also little support given to us as Indigenous women to enforce these rights. The efforts to eliminate discrimination against women and girls do not reach our communities at times.
It was noted that in the case of domestic violence and abuse, the main contributing factor is abuse of alcohol and drugs, another issue that is not receiving due attention, they said. The Indigenous leaders also spoke about the psychological scars inflicted on Indigenous women and children, and the need for psychological support, genuine representation, and legal aid. More than a month after he surrendered to investigators of the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit, businessman and former national cyclist Tyrone Hamilton has been charged for drug trafficking and remanded to jail. Hamilton appeared at a Diamond Magistrates Court this morning, where he was charged with conspiracy to traffic more than 150 pounds of cocaine at the Cheddi-Jagan International Airport. In early March, a wanted bulletin was issued for Hamilton and another man following the arrests of two airport workers who were nabbed with a large quantity of cocaine while attempting to load it on a British Airways flight. Kanu agents stated that the workers were spotted collecting the bags from over the fence at the airport. Those two workers have since been charged. Hamilton surrendered to Kanu investigators days after a wanted bulletin was issued for his arrest. However, he was initially released on station bail as the probe continued. This morning, he made his appearance in court in relation to the drug trafficking charges. After the charges were read to him, the magistrate refused bail, while setting the businessman's next court appearance for the 16th of May.
Purple Arts Productions presents A Treat for My Mother's 7 on Mother's Day Sunday, May 12. Sean Bullock, Bunny House, Charming Blackman, Ronald Green, and others. Golden jewelry for the best dressed mother in purple. 8 p.m. at the National Cultural Center. Tickets $3,000 and $2,500. Compliments of Survival Shopping Complex. The Simcoe Trading, Secure Innovations and Concept Inc. A Purple Arts Theatre production, directed by Simone Dowding.
Look at the breathtaking beauty of the Essequibo. From its pristine rivers to its abundant resources, it's a treasure that belongs to Guyana, and we ask Venezuela to respect the rule of international law.
Our commitment to this land is not just about ownership. It's about preserving its beauty and resources for our people and future generations.
The controversy between Guyana and Venezuela was settled internationally as full, perfect, and final in 1899. Essequibo belongs to Guyana.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyoil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyoil's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyoil has now repositioned itself as market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Holiday spending put a dent in your cash. Top up your pockets in the Cash Splash promotion. Win over $5 million, including over $1 million in our weekly draws. Just purchase any Buster, Turbo, Fruiter, Cool Kids or Viva, look for the 8-digit code starting with 786. Then visit Facebook or IG at Buster Guyana or Turbo_Caribbean for more details.
With your regional and international news tonight, I'm Svetlana Marshall in the region. Reuters in a report today said Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry resigned on Thursday and a transitional council took power with the aim of returning stability to a country where gang violence has caused chaos and misery. Henry's former finance minister Michel Patrick Bravier will be interim prime minister. Top police and military officials and the 9-member transitional council stood behind Bravier during the ceremony, hosted at the prime minister's office, which was surrounded by military and a security detail. Henry announced last month he would resign once the council was in place. He left Haiti in February to seek international help for police in their battles with armed and powerful gangs. But he was left stranded outside the country as the gangs threatened to completely take over the capital. Struggling to return, Henry announced his intended resignation. Bravier had served as acting prime minister in Henry's absence. The transitional government's mandate runs until February 26, by when there are slated to be elections and cannot be renewed. The White House on Thursday welcomed the announcement, saying the transitional council taking power marked a step towards free and fair elections. Prime Minister Gaston Browne says his administration is prepared to negotiate directly with the former employees of the regional airline Liat 1974 Limited that went bankrupt earlier this year. According to CMC, the Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union ABWU has been calling on the government, which had been a major shareholder in the airline, to negotiate an amicable settlement, but the government has accused the union of not wanting to negotiate in good faith. Speaking at a ceremony on Tuesday evening for the arrival of 2 jet aircraft that will form part of the new Antigua-based airline, Liat 2020 Limited, Browne said the door remains open for direct negotiations with the workers regarding the severance payments. The government had originally offered a 50% compassion payment in cash and bonds to the former employees that Browne said amongst the 110 million EC dollars. The ABWU had said in the past that it would continue to seek the 100% severance payment to the former airline employees. Apart from Antigua and Barbuda, the other shareholders were Barbados, Dominica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And finally tonight, international news. For nearly 3 hours on Thursday, the Supreme Court weighed whether former U.S. presidents are immune from prosecution and what exactly it means if they are. Its answer will determine whether former President Donald Trump can be tried on charges of trying to subvert the 2020 election. Whatever the decision, each justice indicated that it would shape U.S. democracy for years to come. The case, heard in a special session one day after the court's last scheduled argument of this term, hinges on Mr. Trump's claim that he is entitled to absolute immunity from criminal charges for actions committed while in office. According to Mr. Trump, this immunity shields him from criminal charges brought by U.S. Special Counsel Jack Smith that he allegedly attempted to overturn the results of the 2020 election. That trial will remain on hold until the court issues its decision, expected in June. The justices' pointed questions leveled at both sides, indicated division within the bench, and suggested a split decision may be likely. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.